Namaste again. Who are you? And who do you think you are? Two entirely different questions. So, I made a video about the cooking aspect of how we come to believe that we are who we are. Not everyone cooks. I don't. If it can't fit in the microwave, I usually don't eat it, unless, of course, someone else makes it for me. I eat out at restaurants quite a bit. So, a computer. You're watching this on a computer most likely, and so therefore you probably know a little bit about computers, perhaps not everything. I know that I don't. I'm quite ignorant in quite a bit of the computer language and whatnot. However, one thing I do know is that in order for a program to run on a computer, let's say this program that's presently operating this YouTube video, it requires a certain underlying program in order for it to operate correctly. Back when computers first started, well, for those of you who are very computer literate, please disregard the inaccuracies of the facts of the case. For instance, basically, from what I understand, DOS was the first operating system. Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I'll go with that. So, back when DOS was first being designed, all programs had to be able to run using DOS as its underlying assumption. Basically, here's DOS, and everything else had to grow out of it in order to be able to run on that particular program. And that was called the operating system. Basically, the disk, the computer disk, is nothing more than like a blank CD. It has nothing on it. The operating system is what allows things to be recorded on it and read from it. So, back when Windows and Apple first came out, PC and all that jazz. Well, actually, it was PC, and I believe Apple and Linux and a few others. These different operating systems came out, and they had programs that wouldn't run with a different operating system. So you couldn't run an Apple program like iTunes on a PC. And I believe Windows at one point couldn't work on Apple. I don't know if that's still the case or not. But in any case, the program had to be compatible with the underlying operating system. So, our parents, when we are, well, first off, when we're born, this is true of anybody, when we're born, we are like a blank computer hard drive. We don't have the operating system implanted yet. We have basic mechanical skills. You might say it's the instinctual drives. So our parents are our initial programmers. They are the ones who give us our operating system. They're the ones that say, that's a tree, that's a car, you know, you're not supposed to roll around on the floor, you're going to get dirty if you do that. It's cold outside, you don't want to go outside. That's one that I think is awesome, because when I was a kid I didn't feel the cold. It was very rare that I ever felt cold, until of course I was told that I was cold, and then I started feeling cold. As an adult, I'm starting to learn that a lot of times when people say, hey, aren't you cold? No, I'm not cold at all. It's just a matter of, this is an experience. That's all it is. It's not cold, it's not hot, it's just an experience. I'm not completely retrained in that, but it's something I'm working with. But in any case, so Mom and Dad spend the first 5 years or so programming the disk, saying, okay, this is what the world is. This is what I believe the world is. Of course, they don't say this is what I believe the world is. They say this is what the world is. So the child, growing up, learns to believe that I am what my parents describe me as, what my friends have described me as. And of course, if I have older siblings, they've already been through the process, so they've already been programmed. So they help program the younger child. You can watch this at any time. Just find a family where there's an older sister. It's usually the best with the older sister. The older sister is almost always the one who carries the guilt of the family. They're also because they are the ones who believe that they were supposed to be responsible. And so they spend most of their time trying to program the younger siblings in such a way that mom and dad won't get mad, because the oldest child already knows the system. So in any case, that's a different story, but it does have a lot to do with how we come to believe that we are who we are. So, in continuing to grow up, especially in the early teens and even honestly even into the 20s, basically we can only accept that which agrees with our operating system. Namely, if I, going back to the original idea of the computer, DOS versus Apple versus other operating systems, if my my hard drive is programmed only to accept those programs written in DOS language, then anything that I hear that's written in Apple language, even if it's intelligent, even if it's wise, even if it is accurate, I can't agree with, because I can't run that program, because it doesn't agree with the original operating system. The spiritual path, I believe, is the recognition that I am not the programming. I am not the operating system. I am more like the ghost in the machine. Because I can be aware of it, then that means it can't be me. I can only be that which is aware. I often hear people say, well, I'm the observer. Well, can you be aware of the observer? If you can be aware of the observer, doesn't that indicate that the observer is external to you? Now, when you think, I posted a video about this earlier, but when you think, does your thoughts show up in your head as words, pictures, or a combination of the two? I gave you a moment to think of that. And so the next question would be, what is it that's aware of the pictures or hearing the words? Now, if you came up with an answer of, I don't know what it is that's how my thoughts get into my head, well, you might want to consider that a little bit. Chances are, in my experience, it would be pictures, because pictures are harder to grasp, in my personal opinion. My thoughts generally appear in my head as words. In any case, however your thoughts appear to you, you can be aware of those thoughts. Now, anything that the eye can see is external to the eye, correct? The eye can't see itself. Fingertip can't touch itself. Pen can't write on itself. This video recorder can't record itself. It can record a reflection, but it can't actually record itself. So, in the same way, that which is you cannot be aware of itself. So, when you are aware of the observer, basically what you are being aware of is a split second in the past version of yourself. It's as though I took a snapshot of who I am and then observed it, because you are aware of the observer, thus indicating that you are not the observer. You are the awareness with which the observer is observed. It looks like I'm soon to run out of minutes again, so this is part 2 of what is turning out to be a series of Who Do You Think You Are? So, there's going to be a part 3. So for now, namaste.